Welcome back to a brand new episode of Private Parts with me, Liv Bentley. This is the podcast where nothing is off limits. And this week, we have a very special guest joining me on the sofa. He went from Wall Street to wellness. It's Harrison Hyde. Welcome.
Thank you. Great.
I'm excited about this, and I want to hear all about your wellness journey. To explain to the listeners, can we start from the beginning? So where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Norwich, rural city, 2 hours from anything. And I left there when I was 18, but I knew from very young that I wanted to get out. I never really belonged.
Yeah.
I think most people with ambitions that grow up in kind of rural cities feel that. You layer that on with, you know, being the only black person that you know outside of your family, it leaves you with a level of feeling that you don't fit in.
Yeah.
So when I turned 18, the first thing I did was got the hell out, basically.
And where did you go to?
I was offered a football scholarship in America.
Amazing.
So I went to crack the American dream, or try. And I played football for 4 years, trying to go pro.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, 4 years later, I didn't make it. Wasn't good enough. But what's great about university in America is that you get a degree while you're playing and they pay for it. So I was able to study, kind of have a backup option, I guess. And after 4 years, decided to go after the next best thing in my eyes at the time, which was Wall Street. Because obviously, like many young people, I was just chasing money.
Yeah.
And, I'd seen on the TV, Wall Street, great lifestyle, money. I thought, if it's not going to be a professional footballer, this is it for me.
Listen, I watched Wolf of Wall Street and I thought, I could do that.
I don't blame you. I think many people did, but it's not all suns and rainbows. But I did that for 6 years. And for the first 3 years, I did think it was the best job ever.
So wait, you did your degree and then how did you get from that into Wall Street?
So I studied accounting and finance.
Okay.
And at the time, I thought working in finance was simply being like a financial advisor. That was as far as my knowledge stretched as to what Wall Street or finance meant, but it's so much more than that. Went down the rabbit hole online. LinkedIn was a thing at the time.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I didn't have any connections in New York or in London in that industry, but I kind of just reached out to everyone that I possibly could, met for coffees, and eventually got put into an interview, which was like a 12-hour super day, almost like Apprentice style, where you do lots of these different role play scenarios. There was like 100 people in this interview. Midway through, they say, you guys go home, you've not got the job.
It's like signing up for the X Factor.
Yeah, basically, it's like an apprentice style interview. And then 12 hours later, I was one of like 10 people that got the job to enter the graduate program.
Pretty amazing.
And I was still at university at this point. This was March, just before spring break, actually. So I had a good time celebrating after that.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the summer, moved to New York to reinvent myself again.
And didn't know anyone?
Didn't know anyone in New York.
God, it's ballsy.
Yeah.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, very, very. But I think that level of uncomfortability excited me, I guess. It was an opportunity to kind of reinvent myself.
Don't worry. And then straight into Wall Street.
Straight into Wall Street. And I had no idea what to expect. So embarrassed on the first day. I turned up in like a 3-piece suit. And I had a tie on and everyone was like, what are you wearing? Like, get that off.
Really?
Tie's got to go. And slowly I started to blend in with the typical finance get up, the 3/4 zips, the gilets, the loafers.
The signet rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out. Okay, so the first 3 years were great.
Unbelievable. Well, great for me. Maybe not for, my parents back home or whatever, but for me, what I wanted at that time, it was amazing. I was hungry, I was naive. I wanted that lifestyle that looked great on the outside, and Wall Street provided me with that. The client entertaining, I was going on ski trips, the best nightclubs, restaurants in the city, all paid for. Every event, Grand Prix, Super Bowls, whatever, we were there. And at the same time, the actual job itself was extremely exciting. It was like a sports locker room, for 12, 13 hours a day, you're grinding, everyone's shouting, effing blinding at each other. And then after work, you go out for pints. Next thing you know, it's 6 a.m. and you're going straight to work. Yeah.
I can see the appeal. And actually, in your 20s, it could be great.
Yeah, exactly, which it was. So I was a broker. I sat between investment banks and hedge funds.
But just to put the record straight, I'm thick as shit, so I don't know much about Wall Street, finance, broke, any of this stuff. So you'll suddenly have to explain to me. So you get in at 6:30 in the morning.
6:30 in the morning, and we have a our company had offices in London and Singapore. So in the morning, you get in, you speak to them about what's been trading in the market, and then you start to speak to your clients in New York. And then all day, you're just facilitating trading activity between investment banks and hedge funds, putting parties together. So for example, an investment bank will come to you and say, I want to buy 100 million of, I was in FX derivatives. So, but let's just, for easy terms, let's just say I was trading stocks. An investment bank will come to you and say, I want to buy $100 million of Facebook stock. I would find them a price from other counterparties, other banks and hedge funds, and then, they'd trade on the best price possible. I try and get them the best price. And would have to negotiate those deals.
Bloody hell. What's the biggest sum of money you ever had to sort of deal with?
Well, it's not real money, is it? So it sounds like we trade billions of dollars a day, like our desk specifically of like 6-7 people. But it's a drop in the water for those firms.
Yeah. And so, okay, so then and then what about the sort of social wild side that went along with all of this?
Being a broker, there's not too much skill in it. The skill comes from the client relationship side, which is why you have to consistently take these people out. And our clients, they're from the upper echelon of lifestyle, let's say, they go to the best schools, they go to the best universities, they've got a certain standard. So you take them out to the best dinners, the best restaurants. And a lot of them, let's say, are not that social. So that's where you come in, you take them out, show them a nice time, introduce them to girls, take them to the club. Yeah. And you do all that to butter them up to get business the next day, essentially.
It's sort of like quite twisted, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Like, it's sort of, you're almost like a pimp kind of thing. But no, but as in you are, essentially, in a way. And then when did it slightly start going wrong?
Well, it's weird because I can't really put it back to like one moment. But, the first 3 years, I was drinking, doing whatever else, and it was the night would finish, I'd go home, I'd be functional, my relationships weren't in tatters, I was acting in ways that I was still somewhat proud of. And then slowly, I think, now I look back, the signal point was that instead of, I would always want to carry on the party, and it didn't matter who with, I could meet some random guy in a bar, my friends had gone home, my clients had gone home, but I just didn't want the party to finish, so I'd carry that on, and at times I'd be drinking and doing whatever else on my own after the party's finished, just because I didn't want it to end. And those sort of moments, and now when I look back on, are quite dark, and it was never usually like that initially. And
was there a lot of sort of drugs in the workplace?
Yeah.
Yeah, really. So it's kind of like, I'm in my head, I am obviously just imagining Wolf of Wall Street. Was it? And it was. So it was quite like that.
Yeah, 100%. I think comes hand in hand with for most people, at least in England and the States, cocaine comes hand in hand with alcohol, and
you can't escape it.
Yeah, you can't escape it, unfortunately. I wouldn't, for years, I couldn't remember the last time that I was drunk, because I'd have one drink, and actually I'd have the drink just so I could justify getting on the packet,
Really?
Yeah.
God, it's intense. But I mean, I would imagine, did a lot of, it was, I'm assuming, very commonplace in terms of like, was there anyone that you worked with that didn't partake in any of that?
Yeah.
So some people managed to stay strong?
Yeah, but they weren't necessarily the best at their job, right? Because there were people on the desk that didn't really entertain much, but it's such an integral part of the business, and there's other shops that you're competing with that are entertaining, that it's important that you go out and do that. And unfortunately, although you could say that you could go out sober, what person that's drunk and wants to party wants to go out with someone sober? So the clients don't necessarily feel comfortable with you or want to go out with you, right? So you kind of have to morph into that person and be the life of the party.
Did you almost get to a point where you forgot what you were like prior to that person you almost took on when you were in Wall Street?
Definitely, because I do feel like it was somewhat of a bravado, that I was putting on. Because I remember my boss said to me pretty early on at my first firm that I started at that, I was like, how do you get clients? What? And he said very clearly, just make sure you always go out with a packet of cigarettes and a bag of packets. So in my head, it's ingrained in me that, I need to be this guy in order to be successful at the job.
It's mental though, isn't it? How that's what attracts people. Like, as in, do you know what I mean? It's odd.
Yeah. I mean, when he said that at the time, I was like, yeah, this is great. This is
I think anyone probably would have done.
Exactly.
Until you hit 30 and you're like, what the fuck have I done? God, that is mental. And so you did 6 full years there. And after the first 3, you just things just started getting a bit out of control?
Out of control. The job, at the start, me entertaining was making me better at my job. After, in the back end of my career, it was starting to affect it. I was starting to I'd go out all night. Sometimes I would go straight to the office. I'd leave people in my flat that were still partying. I'd come back at lunchtime, do a bit of whatever, and then go back. But there'd been times that towards the end of my career, I just wouldn't turn up. I'd go missing. My desk were calling around my girlfriend, calling around whatever, because I'd just completely carried on the party.
What did your girlfriend say about it? Did she struggle to...
Yeah,
is this the same girlfriend you're with now?
Somehow, the same girlfriend I'm with now, to be honest.
But what did she say at the time? Did it put a lot of strain on your relationship?
A lot of strain, yeah. And I don't regret my time on Wall Street, because ultimately it, I think you have to go through those things to really figure out who you are. But I regret how it affected people in my life, my girlfriend, my family, or whatever. What did your
family have to say about it all?
Well, I'm my mum's only child. Right. So the fact that I was in America anyway is tough, especially as they get older. And she knew, we have a very honest relationship. Like, she knew what I was like. She knew that I liked to dabble in those things. And it would be very stressful for her.
Yeah, I bet. And are we talking this is every single day?
At least 4 or 5 nights. Like, for example,
Were you not fucking knackered?
This sounds like an exaggeration, but my girlfriend will back these stories up. People I work with back these stories up. Monday, Tuesday, I would not even want to think about alcohol, because at this point, at the same time, I was trying to go sober. In my mind, I was literally serious that I didn't want to drink anymore.
Really?
Right?
While you're still on Wall Street?
While I was still on Wall Street, like towards the back end, because I knew how detrimental it was being.
Yeah.
I'm quite an ambitious guy, and I could see how it was affecting where I wanted to go in life. But Wednesday would come around, and starting to feel good again. The hangover started to go, and next thing you know, it's Friday. I've literally haven't slept. I've gone out from Wednesday through to Friday, haven't slept. The weird thing is about doing a rollover, you feel awful throughout the whole day. You come out and it's almost like, wow, I've got a new lift of energy. You come out of work and suddenly someone asks you to go for a pint and you're back on it again. And that lifestyle is also very common in finance, because we work early hours and you go out late. If you're getting in at 5 a.m, there's no point going to sleep. You just carry on and go right through.
But was it, did you notice, would it affect the way your brain was working? I mean, I'm useless after a drink. My God, I can barely speak.
But you carry on, I guess, with the other stuff, with the uppers to keep you going. Yeah.
Jesus. Looking back, if someone came to you and said they wanted to consider like working on Wall Street, what would your advice be?
Depend on the person. If I felt like they were similar to me, quite impressionable, I'd probably say no.
Yeah.
But some people would be able to go and work in that job and not get up to those things. It's not like everyone is like that. A lot of people are. But
sorry, how many years ago was this?
I left in 2022.
Oh, fuck. So it's actually it's very recent.
Yeah, relatively recent.
And do you think it will ever change? Or do you think the whole social aspect of what that job entails will always have to be the same?
In the space that I'm in, it's definitely changed in comparison to what it was like, but it's still so much like that. And obviously you're getting these new wave of people that are coming through, the younger generations that don't want to do those things.
I know, the younger generation, they don't want to drink.
It's crazy.
Know what's happened. It's mental.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, obviously, but it's very different.
But in a corporate setting, it causes friction, right? Because you've got the older boss who naturally thinks the way to connect with his team is out for pints after work.
Yeah.
They feel obliged to go, but they don't drink. It creates
people don't like it. Yeah. People, I've realised, are funny if you don't drink. Mm-hmm. And so you wanted to get sober, and then how did you eventually actually stop altogether?
Well, I had to quit.
Yeah.
Was that hard? That was hard. And I didn't want to quit till I knew what I was going to do after, because I was accustomed to some sort of lifestyle, I guess. I needed to have a backup plan. Not necessarily a backup plan, but a plan that I could move on to, that I was passionate about, that was completely different to what I was doing. But there was a lot of work on myself to eventually get sober. I mean, the process, I'm now close to 2 years sober.
God, well done. It's amazing.
But it's been like a 4-year journey.
Yeah.
I would go like 6 months without drinking at all, but I was in complete hibernation. I wasn't seeing anyone.
Yeah.
Right, which is not not very good.
No.
Because you're miserable, unhappy.
Did you just go cold turkey, or did you go to meetings, or?
Yeah, I go to AA.
Yeah.
Now, that was the changing point. I hadn't done AA. I didn't really think it was for me because I was a habitual drinker. It's not like I was waking up sober thinking, I need a drink. It was literally when I was out, and then it was carrying on.
Yeah.
But what I learned is, an addict is not necessarily someone that needs a drink every day, every hour of the day. It's someone when they have one, they can't stop.
Yeah.
That one may be every 3 months, right? It doesn't have to be a bender once a year is enough to knock you back years, especially the way that I was doing in terms of your relationships, your life, whatever.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. And then so AA, and then did you find that hard? That as in going to meetings?
Initially, yes, but it was an amazing feeling. I had preconceived notions about what AA was going to be like and what the people were going to be there. But the meetings that I was going to in London, there was people that were exactly like me, in the same situation. It gave me a feeling of relief, I guess, to hear people's stories that were in the darkness and the depths of it like I was, and then to see them get out of that and prosper. It was, a level of relief, I think. Because at that point, because I'd been trying to go sober for so long and I'd do so well, I'd go months and then I'd go on a massive bender. It felt like I was helpless and I'd never be able to get rid of it, essentially.
Well, no, they say that because you go sober and then there's no point almost having the one, because it's not like you start from the beginning again. You go straight back to your last big old bender. So it's,
Exactly.
But it's, I've noticed, I mean, not noticed, but I don't know, a lot of people I know have stopped drinking and it seems to be the best thing.
Yeah, I don't think anyone that's goes sober will regret it.
No, it's the best decision I've made.
Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't done that long, but no, it's I think, but it's so hard because I think it's one of those things that you do slightly get sucked into, and my sort of history with it is maybe kind of similar. It was doing TV was very sociable. You had to go to a lot of events, and I think you get very easily caught up in all of that, and it's hard to do it without drinking. I used to go to events to use my pre-drinks before the night out. Like, fuck me, I'd take them down. A free bar, hello. So it is really hard. But when you actually went sober, were you still in New York? You'd moved back here?
I was trying to get sober in New York. I moved back to the UK and did a bit of traveling.
Yeah.
Traveling, I lived with the monks, did a mushroom retreat.
Talk me through all of this stuff. You lived with the monks?
Yeah, I didn't become a monk, but I lived with the monks and did a 2-week meditation retreat.
Right.
It's essentially you sit in silence for 8 hours a day, which was, I didn't really know what I was getting into when I went there.
Did you go by yourself?
Yeah.
And no phone?
No phone.
Where were you doing this?
This was in Thailand,
Okay.
northern Thailand, but it was an amazing experience. I hadn't at that point ever really done any meditation or sat with myself for a long period of time.
Did someone encourage you to do that, or you just suddenly thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go live with the monks?
At that point, I was lost and I was just searching for things that might be able to save me. No one thing can, but it certainly started a catalyst of personal development and working on myself that eventually helped me get through a dark period.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you, and it's probably a personal question, did you feel like when you take the booze out of everything, you sort of didn't really know who you were, what your personality was, or who you really were?
100%. I think my identity was so attached to that persona, and all my friends, I built a life around it, right?
Yeah.
All my friends were people that also lived that lifestyle. And there was a lot of, I think there's that in-between period when you're going through change where you're quite lonely because you haven't quite met those new friends yet that align with your lifestyle, but you've have to cut off the previous friends that you were hanging about with, the party friends or whatever, those friends from your previous lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's definitely an in-between period where you're exceptionally lonely.
Yeah. Did you, what were your friends like? Were any of them supportive, or were they sort of like...
The real friends were supportive.
Yeah.
Because they knew how much of an issue it was for me. But of course I had friends that also were in the same position as me, and ultimately they just wanted friends to party with.
Yeah.
I had a lot of those,
The
right?
good
That
time
I'd
guy.
only call up when I'm already pissed and it's 2 a.m. and I want someone to carry on the party with. Those weren't really my real friends.
Yeah.
They were situational friends.
Have you cut all of them out now? Like, do you ever speak to any of them?
Occasionally, we'll check in with each other on Instagram, maybe reply to a story, but we won't connect in person.
Yeah.
Just don't think there's much to necessarily that we have in common.
Yeah. No, it is very interesting. So then you went to the monks, and then what sort of thing did you discover about yourself when you were there?
So their practice is that all the answers are inside of you. We like to, when we want answers to things, we like to go out and look for external things, read books, speak to people, speak to experts. But their idea is that we all have the answers to everything inside of us. We just need to sit and think. So that was the idea of the retreat. And although I didn't come out of all the answers, I certainly learned more about myself and who I wanted to be and what I valued, which was very important in kind of building this next part of my life.
Yeah.
And then I also did a couple of psilocybin retreats as
Yeah,
well.
okay, so this is, I want to talk a lot about this because I'm slightly fascinated. The idea of taking a shroom scares the living shit out of me, and I understand there's wellness factors. It's a bit like ayahuasca, people going, I've met God. I'm like, I would probably meet the Grim fucking Reaper if I took one of those. But so this, because it's big for, I don't want to use the word addicts, but there's a lot of studies, obviously, of addicts going on these sorts of retreats to help them. What was your reasoning for going? Because this is when you were sober, right?
This is when I was sober, or at least trying to get sober, going through stints of period of sobriety. I didn't necessarily go on it for those reasons. I've always been someone who's quite growth minded and wanting to get better in all areas of my life. And the people that I know had been on these things were high performers, and they were using it as a tool to learn more about themselves so they could show up better in the world, which is why I went on it. But naturally, I think that relates to sobriety as well, and it can help you work through that.
But do you actually get high?
Yeah, very high.
For how long?
For like 8 hours.
Oh,
you know,
my God.
you take.
I sweat thinking about these things.
You could microdosing is a topic of conversation, but when you go on a retreat, it's not a microdose; it's a macrodose. You take 8 grams of mushrooms.
And what are you in a yurt or something?
In a year, there's a couple of ways to do it. You can go. Now it's becoming legalized in some places. You can go to quite a clinical facility where it's done by a doctor, but the ones that I went on were ancient ceremonies where it's like very spiritual, abroad, where it's very spiritual. It's done by a shamanic healer, and it's done in the way that they've been doing for thousands of years across the world.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing experience. You sit there, there's a whole process, but during the actual time that you take mushrooms, you'll sit there for 8 hours with a blindfold on. Just typically when people take mushrooms recreationally, it's all about what you see and the external.
Because the thought of seeing things running around beside me, I mean, that's what worries me, if I'm honest.
But when you take it in that setting, it's about the internal and going inward.
Yeah. And what sort of came up?
Well, the first time I did it, I cried for the first time since I was like 10 years old.
Really?
I was riddled with guilt and shame about how I treated the people closest to me in my life. You know, when I was doing those things, treating my girlfriend in that way, it's not that I didn't feel remorse, but I think we have a way of blocking it out. So I would do things that I'm not very proud of now, and I wouldn't feel anything. I wouldn't feel bad about it. But that emotion, I feel, stays with you, right?
Yeah.
And I hadn't had that release. And mushrooms allowed me to connect with those emotions. And I was literally crying for like 8 hours, which sounds horrible. And it was horrible.
No, but
I remember
you
thinking,
felt pretty amazing afterwards.
Afterwards, I felt amazing.
It is fascinating. No, because I have a lot of friends who've done them, who've tried to encourage me to do them, but I'd heard a story about someone and it just sort of really put me off. Some girl masturbated and I just thought it was a bit much. No, but they do say that.
This is the thing, right? It's like, it's from the ground, but we have no problem putting God knows what up our noses. But psychedelics have such a bad persona in the media. It's starting to get better, but I mean, I was always scared of I'd do everything else, but not psychedelics. No, that's crazy.
Is it something you've done regularly? Like, have you done it again?
Yeah, I've done in a retreat setting 3 times now.
Bloody hell. And is it sort of like a top-up kind of thing? Or what does one use it as? But is it like a sort of like a...
It's honestly like 10 years of therapy in 1 week, especially for someone. If I was to sit down with a face-to-face therapist, it would take me a good 5 years to actually get somewhere because I'm a very closed off person emotionally. You know, they may ask me how I am and I'd be, yeah, I'm good. You know, it would take me a while. But in that setting, you don't have a choice. It all comes to the surface. So it's like it's a quicker way to get there, essentially.
Yeah. And so do you think after that, after your first one of doing those, were you then sober?
No.
No.
No, this was... AA was truly the
Best thing.
It was the best thing because it allowed me, through having a sponsor and through seeing people who were in the same situation as me. At that time, I was going sober, but I was hibernating. AA allowed me to actually go out and be the person I wanted to be, live a big life. I didn't want to get sober to live a small life and just live and stay in my home. I wanted to get sober so I could live an even bigger life. And it allowed me to do that. You know, now I go to stag do's. I was in Ibiza last year till 5 a.m, no drink. All my friends were absolutely off their face, obviously.
Yeah.
There's me sober.
No, see, this is my problem. You know how people get a buzz from their first drink? I just have to go to sleep. And I say, sorry, Tim, I'm out. 10 o'clock. See you.
Yeah, that is the problem. You do get tired.
You do, don't
quickly.
you?
Yeah.
And also the nonsense that drunk people chat. My God. I've had to say to them, listen, this is too much now. What was it that you then would have your slip-ups with your benders? Like, what were you thinking when you suddenly were like, okay, I just want to have a drink?
It would catch me so off guard. Like, I remember one time, I was like 6-7 months being sober, and I honestly thought this time I was in the all clear. That's it, I'm good. Just went to watch High Rocks because I was living in Southwest London at the time, and it was on at Kensington Olympia.
Yeah.
So I was in a good frame of mind. I was inspired by all these fitness people. Then my mate called me up on the Sunday, and it was bank holiday, and for some reason I was feeling really good. What's interesting, I didn't necessarily choose to drink when I was feeling down. It was when I was feeling really good, excited. And next thing you know, out of nowhere, I'd been on a 3-day bender, and it was literally just like that. I just don't know how it happened or what happened. I met my friend. Next thing you know, we're in the Prince. And then after that,
That's hell.
Yeah, I know, exactly. After that, it's just weird looking back, because on the Saturday, my frame of mind was like, I'm never drinking again. And I was actually feeling really good. On the Sunday, I was feeling even better. I'd seen people on the Saturday inspire me. Next thing you know, it is
such a vicious thing, isn't it? You don't I don't think appreciates, especially if you are someone who has slightly more of an issue with alcohol, but how like grasping it is. That the sort of thing that does keep you on the straight and narrow and out. Like, is AA a big part of how your sort of sober journey?
AA was definitely laid the foundations for me to live the life that I'm living now. I'm not as dialed into it as much as I should be. I kind of tap in and tap out, but it definitely laid the foundations to live the life that I wanted to live, a big one, a sober one.
Yeah. And now on that topic, let's talk about this wellness retreat that you are working on.
Yeah, so in the midst of all that chaos, I came out of a business idea, which was to build a wellness hotel and members club. Essentially, when I was in New York, when I wasn't out partying, that Monday, Tuesday, I was living quite a healthy lifestyle. I'd always kept in shape. But it felt like I was constantly having to sacrifice that to go out and socialize. All the hospitality concepts in New York, London, they're all centered around alcohol. And it constantly felt like I had to sacrifice my mental and physical well-being to satisfy my social well-being.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create a place where all of that can flourish at once. And that was where the idea for Long Lane was conceived. And now, this was 3 or 4 years ago, it's been a long journey getting here. Now we have a site under development, just 1 hour from London.
Amazing.
It's 53 acres. It's got a manor house, coach house, experiential farm, and well-being's at the core of it.
And no alcohol.
No alcohol. And that's actually it's weird because for us, having no alcohol was a no-brainer. We're building a wellness-focused hotel and members club.
Yeah.
Alcohol shouldn't even come into it. But we got a lot of pushback from consultants, investors that said this doesn't make sense. But for us, it was a no-brainer. If well-being is at the core of what we do, how does alcohol come into it?
And also, if your sort of clientele, if sober people want to go, they're not going to want to be around pissed people.
Exactly.
It's like, and I've no shade on, you might have to bleep me saying Soho Farmhouse. I couldn't think of anything worse than Soho Farmhouse because people are off their fucking nuts.
Exactly. The sober people are obviously going to gravitate towards it. But I think what's interesting about the concept as well, you don't have to be sober to want a weekend without alcohol.
Yeah.
Even when I was drinking a lot, I may go 3-4 weekends, massive weekends. Maybe I've just come back off a stag do. If someone said to me, oh, let's go to this place where alcohol isn't sold there, we can have an amazing experience, wellness focused, I'd also be up for that. So we
Yeah.
imagine that not just sober people that will gravitate towards us, also people that are high performers, that do like to party quite a bit, but also are really focused on being the best person they can be when they're not drinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Also probably somewhere that's quite nice because I think, I don't know about you, it's very hard, not hard, but maybe it's because I'm sort of freshly new into the sober game, to do sociable things that don't involve drinking. And like London, I mean, what the fuck does one do? I mean, there's the old museum you can go around for sure, but like, I mean, I know there's a load of different things that you could do, but I had like to be sociable, alcohol has to be involved in some way.
It does, yeah. I think it's so ingrained within our culture.
The pub.
But exactly. But I think it's changing. Over the last few years, you've seen run clubs, coffee clubs, paddle clubs pop up everywhere. And on the flip side of that, bars, traditional third spaces, bars, pubs, nightclubs have been actually having a really struggling time. And I think it's because people don't align anymore.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to be out till 4 a.m. just in the name of socializing anymore, right? So they're leaning into these other places, run clubs, paddle clubs. But we feel like hospitality hasn't really evolved. They're still in the mindset of we need to sell alcohol to survive, and they haven't really created a new space that doesn't revolve around that.
Yeah. Well, it's the biggest moneymaker, really, isn't it? That's how loads of these places is just alcohol. Does that cross your mind that because you won't be serving alcohol, but what would you be, not that what would you be doing instead, but what would you be offering for people to sort of like...
So it's a hotel.
Yeah.
So there's a hotel offering. There's a members club. In terms of, we'll obviously have beverages and food there.
Yeah.
But also you've got the wellness services. So we've got a longevity clinic. So blood testing,
Oh my God, amazing.
hyperbaric oxygen chambers, cryotherapy.
Fascinated by these oxygen chambers. What does one do in them?
So essentially you sit in a chamber and it increases the amount of oxygen into your blood flow.
Okay.
And oxygen is life, essentially.
Yeah.
So if you can increase that,
What, you just nip in there for a good 10 minutes, then you're out again?
it's 60 minutes, yeah. And it's supposed to be, it's not really something, it's not like a cold plunge where you go in and you feel amazing. It's something that the benefits are reaped over a long period of time.
Interesting. I want to try one of those. No, I'm big on all of this stuff because I love a good cryo tank. Also partial to the sauna. Mm-hmm. Although I've never
Sauna's good.
Yeah, saunas are good. And no, I love the what's that thing I do? Oh no, it's the cryo tanks. Oh yeah, the red light therapy, the full body. I find myself getting into this egg in Harvey Nicks, lying there shaking and sweating, but it seems to feel great afterwards. But this is so exciting, and so you're launching this next year.
Yeah, summer 2026.
Oh my God, exciting! And how are you going to do it with, like, what's the selection? How do you do it with members? Anyone can apply.
Anyone can apply, but so we've formulated a membership committee, which is people from West Sussex in London, and essentially a broad range of people, but they'll be the gatekeepers approving applications.
My thing on a lot of these places, and I don't know actually if it is because I don't drink, it's the crowd that these places encourage. And to be so totally honest with you, when I stopped drinking, I really took a major step back from a lot of people and a lot of and the sort of boozy scene. But unfortunately, a lot of places that you find in London, it is all those people.
It is all that, yeah.
Without sounding like a knob, but like, yeah.
It is. I think it's interesting though with Soho House specifically because it wasn't always like that. I mean, I was a member a while ago and it didn't always feel like that, but I think they obviously went public.
Yeah.
They were trying to grow, to increase the membership. And I think for a lot of people initially, the allure was that it was relatively exclusive and hard to get in.
Yeah, because it was for creatives, wasn't it, originally?
Exactly. So the finance people that I work with, if you managed to get a membership somehow, they absolutely loved it.
Really?
Yeah, but...
Now it's any old Tom, Dick and Harry, isn't
Exactly. So I think the allure has gone to some degree.
Does what's Long Lane going to offer that one can't get anywhere else?
So I guess relating it to Farmhouse, because it's what most people are familiar with, I think Farmhouse is a club where you switch off, you escape to the countryside. It's about escapism, food, drink. Long Lane is a club for your life, essentially. And it's built around health and personal development. And our ethos is that, we need to make people's lives better in every possible way. What that actually looks like in actuality, wellness for us is not an amenity, it's an operating system. At Farmhouse and other spaces, they bolt well-being on. It's an addition, it's not the core of what they do.
Yeah.
For us, we start with it, right? And it's built out through architecture, design, programming, facilities, food, beverage, which is why we're not serving alcohol.
Yeah.
And, on top of that, at places like most hospitality places, alcohol is the social engine, the bar. For us, the social engine is movement, connection, nature.
So will it work? Like you could either come and stay as if it was a hotel, or say you needed like a week of real detox kind of thing. You could come do that as well.
Exactly, a combination of both, yeah.
I think it's quite amazing. And an hour out of London.
Yeah, have you been to, it's in the South Downs, West Sussex. Not many people have been there. The Cotswolds is where people usually travel.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm biased now, but the South Downs, West Sussex is unbelievable. In my opinion, more beautiful than the Cotswolds.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So wait, are you doing this all by yourself? You got a business partner?
I've got a business partner.
Who's gone on a similar journey to you, or?
Yeah, similar journey actually. He's a little bit further along on his journey.
Okay.
But he had similar experience. He was working in hospitality, which is obviously another industry that relies on alcohol, fast life. And he turned his life around, got out that space, started building vegan restaurants at the time and well-being concepts. And he has the hospitality experience, which is makes him a great partner. And he's a lot further along on his well-being journey than I am. He's a full-blown biohacker, basically. Whereas,
oh my God. Yeah.
Whereas I'm kind of at the start of my journey, eating good food, sober, working out, which is great because we can kind of cater the experience to multiple audiences across that spectrum.
Yeah. What would your sort of like, not target audience, but what would your demographic of sort of people you'd want to appeal to? Or is it literally anyone and everyone?
I think anyone and everyone, because the main core thing binding that audience together is that well-being is a priority of theirs. And that can span all spectrums, all ages. The audience that I'm most interested in making an impact on is that audience that is in London. Maybe they're 25 to 45, are in a corporate job, live a fast life, and hopefully we can be a place that they can seek balance in their otherwise somewhat chaotic lives.
Yeah. No, it's actually such a nice idea. It's like a little reset. And I feel like actually maybe that's what a lot of people need. And that's how one gets so caught up in it. You never take a little step back and go, actually, fucking hell, this is all just mental. Like I would imagine working in the city. I mean, thank God I've never had a job. But if you worked in the city, I mean, long lunches all the time, getting pissed, it would be hard to break that cycle. And when you're young and you're 25 and you've got that energy, you can just keep on doing it. Hit 30, let me tell you, fuckers, it does not feel the same. No, because I wish I wish there was something like that, like in my sort of like earlier years, because I think if I'd taken a little step away and then like reintroduced myself into that sort of social scene slowly, things could have ended differently. But I think it's such a good idea. Has anyone else ever done anything like this?
There's a couple of concepts similar to it in the US.
Yeah.
Quite different though, because they're more of a retreat space. We are a hospitality space first and foremost. We will offer retreats, but people can just come, connect, hang out at the restaurant, hang out at the lounge.
Yeah.
But yeah, the US is quite far ahead in those types of concepts.
Because they're all, but they're all almost extreme in both. Because you get certain places where they're like fitness fanatics, and then you get the sesh heads.
Yeah.
But whereas the UK, there's a lot of sesh heads. But in London, actually, in saying that, maybe wellness has suddenly become a lot bigger of a thing. I don't think it was as spoken about before.
No, it's definitely on the rise in London for sure.
Do you think it's because everyone's realised that actually there is a better side to life than getting pissed at?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's weird. Over the last few years, people are moving away from that type of lifestyle.
I wonder if it was because of COVID. Or not because of COVID, but during COVID, how a lot of people ended up becoming slightly reliant on alcohol. I think a lot of people end up being alcoholics during that time.
Yeah, my sister, she's 19, and if you looked at her, you'd assume that she's a bit of a party girl, right? Not in the nicest possible way.
Yeah.
It's going to kill me for saying that. But she doesn't go out at all.
Really?
She may go to the pub, but she's been to a club like 3 times in her life, which is crazy because at that age, that was all I could think about.
Yeah. That's pretty remarkable, actually.
Yeah. And it's across a whole friendship group,
You've raised over 4 million for this.
Yeah.
How?
Good question.
Oh my God, do you want I sell lube? Do you want to stock the bedrooms with lube? It's wellness. Listen, it's got CBD in it. It's
sexual wellness.
It's sexual wellness. Yeah, it is.
Interesting. Could
and
be a
body
could be
massage
a
and arousal oil.
There we go. It could be a good partnership.
It could. Perfect. There's the stock gone. No, but that's quite amazing. 4 million.
Yeah, it's interesting how we went about it as well. Although I worked in finance, I wasn't in the capital raising space. So
Yeah.
really that experience had no impact on raising this capital. And we really had no idea what we were doing. But we had been documenting our journey on social media, my story, my business partner's story, and what we were building. And we built up quite a bit of traction,
Yeah.
which then led to us raising capital from our audience. We raised about £1.5 million initially as seed capital from our Instagram audience, which was
Bloody
pretty
hell.
crazy because at that point we didn't know if the people following along were actually potential customers or had buying power. You know, we thought they were all 18-year-olds that were just in scroll holes liking a load of stuff.
Yeah.
But it turns out, you know, we had connected with our audience and they gave us the seed capital to get going.
God, that's pretty amazing. And then how did you get to the full 4 million?
So then we started speaking to institutional investors,
Yeah.
which is a long process. And we managed to land a couple of those. A family office which invests in hotels. They actually develop for Four Seasons, Six Senses, Baccarat,
amazing.
which is amazing for our future plans.
Yeah.
Because this is our first site, but it won't be our last.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Is it something you'd keep UK based or would you want to open up all over?
I don't think we'll do another one in the UK, actually.
Really?
No, I'd like to Europe, Middle East, America. But our model is 30 minutes to an hour outside of major cities.
Yeah.
So you can imagine one outside Paris, Madrid, Lisbon, New York, LA, Miami.
Would you offer the mushroom things on this?
Well, it's not legal at the moment, but
Oh, are they not legal in the UK to go on a mushroom journey?
no. Mostly if you're doing it in the UK, it's not legal. But it's moving that way, and hopefully we'll be set up because we'll have a CQC license, which is essentially like a medical practitioner license.
Yeah.
We'll be set up to do those ceremonies, which will be amazing.
Yeah,
Full
that would be
circle.
incredible. God, you really get the full whack. Is there anything specific you would do? Like, say there was someone who hits it really hard and kind of wants to ease up on sobriety, maybe entertain being sober. Is there anything you would offer at the hotel something that could encourage them to want to stop, or like anything that could help? I don't know, whether it's like have a therapist or an AA meeting or something.
We won't have any of that there, but I think the experience itself does that, because I feel like when people realize that they can have a life that doesn't revolve around alcohol, they can then start to make changes in their life. I feel like a lot of people that know they should give up alcohol don't, because they feel like
They're scared.
they can't have a life without it.
Yeah, and I spoke to someone the other day and they were like, it's the thought of never, and you're not meant to actually think about like never having a drink again, but I think for people who are about to stop, it's so daunting, the thought of actually never drinking. Mm-hmm. But it's weird, isn't it, that's it's got such a control over so many people.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just so ingrained in our culture, isn't it? That it's a normal thing to do.
But I wonder, do you think there's anything we can do that sort of changes that? Like, it's so hard. I think if you want to work in certain industries, how does one achieve that without getting enticed by the glitz and the glamour of alcohol?
Yeah, I think social media is having a good impact on this sobriety craze at the moment, because 100 years ago, 50 years ago, you were only really as good as your community that's in your local vicinity, right? And if everyone's drinking, everyone's doing the same things, it's very hard to see a life without that. But now, as someone that's, let's say you're 18 years old, you've grown up in Norwich, all your friends are going to the pub, you know, your dad's in the pub 3 or 4 times a week, you can tap into social media, you can follow inspirational people, you'll have other role models in your life that you're not necessarily personally connected to, but you can then lead a life like
have
them.
access to,
And you know, you're seeing 18-year-olds on social media doing like 75 hard and doing these crazy things that 15 years ago, 18-year-olds were not doing any of that. All they were focused on is getting drunk,
Getting
finding
high
girls.
in the local park.
Yeah.
Drinking beer they probably found there. Listen, those days were fun. WKD, I remember it. Running around in an Adidas hoodie.
Lamborghini.
Yeah. It's just not like that anymore.
No. Good times though.
Yeah, it was. Is there any aspect of drinking that you miss?
Despite being almost 2 years sober, there's sometimes always a part of me that misses the benders and going out, clubbing, getting that external validation that at the time I built my life around. But I know it is not the thing that is going to get me to where I want to go in life.
Yeah.
And that short moment of joy is not as enticing as chasing my goals and realizing my potential. So it's what stops me from
dropping back.
No,
because I was thinking about the other day, like there are moments that I suddenly miss, like, I was about to say this, actually, I miss getting pissed, but then I also remembered, you know, when you're 20 and you're doing it, it's totally different than when you're 30.
It is.
And it's also not the best look when you're
No,
30,
exactly.
really,
There's that
rolling
as well.
in from raffles at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I was thinking about this the other day, and it's like when you're younger and you drink, no, your stresses are different. You don't have big fucking tax bills. No one cares about that. You know where you're living, all this stuff. When you're 30 or when you're a bit older and you drink, you're doing it for fun. But in the back of your mind, there are those stresses that you just didn't have before. And I think that's why I said to a friend, I was like, God, I remember those days of getting pissed at sort of 20, and it was all like fun, jolly pissed. But later on, those days were like, it just never happened. It went from, you know, that sort of fun tipsy, that I just went from having one drink to then being pissed. And I was like, where was the fun bit? Like, it just went. And then you realize you're sitting around a room, everyone talking about their depressing fucking lives, no one's got money, people want divorces. And you're like, hang on, where do the days of ending up in McDonald's at 2 a.m. go? It's not. We're all here like giving sort of shit therapy chats to each other. But no, it is such an interesting thing. What would your advice be to anyone who's possibly in your position? Like, what would you recommend, or if there's anyone listening who is contemplating stopping drinking, but it doesn't really know how to or is nervous, what would you suggest they do?
I would say for anyone looking to get sober, first of all, really figure out why. I think that why is important. When you can really iron out that reason, it can become the fuel to ensuring that you go and be sober. So that's definitely the first step. But AA as well is always a good starting place. And I think it's important to, as I said, like most people think AA isn't for them because they don't meet the typical stereotype of what an addict is.
Yeah.
There isn't one stereotype of being an addict, you know? So it's important that people give it a try.
I can't wait to come and see Long Lane. Are we all invited when it opens?
For sure. Yeah, the launch party, be there, bring your lube.
I'll bring my lube. Yeah. Oh my God, this is actually... what? Just everyone drinking the lube to get high. No, sick. Anyway, this has been absolutely fascinating, and thank you so much for telling us all of that. Where can anyone find you if they want to speak to you about anything?
On Instagram, my handle is Harrison Hyde.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that.
No, thanks for having me on.